Hello everyone, my name is Julie and welcome to my channel where I show you the scrapbook pages that I'm working on and tell you about the products that I'm using to create them. Today I'm using this brand new suite collection from Stampin' Up. This is called the Season of Elegance, I did not buy the whole suite. I'm going to show you this in the catalog. This is the whole suite. It comes with 2 stamp sets, 2 die cuts that coordinate, the paper pack, which I got, the embossing folder, which I got, some ribbon, and these adhesive dots. So I did not get the dots because I have a lot of this in my stash already. I'm trying to use up what I have before purchasing more. And I have a ton of ribbon. The other reason I didn't buy the ribbon is because this die cut right here makes the cutest 3-dimensional bow. And I'd rather use that than ribbon. And I didn't get this stamp set because I have a lot of die cut sets that already have some tags and ribbons like this, as well as the word Christmas. And I didn't think that I needed the coordinating sentiments just because I have other stuff I can use, and I didn't see myself using this enough to justify buying that set. I did get this set with the trees because they're just so pretty. And this bow, like I really wanted that bow. And the snow. Let me show you on this other page. If you use that die cut and then layer it on top, it makes it look like it's snowing. So there's a white piece of paper underneath this blue piece that they die cut that snow on. Isn't that so pretty? I'm excited to try that. So that's the set I'm going to be working with today. I'm going to show you a little bit of it real quick. These are the pictures I'm using. Mostly of my 2 daughters and just some fun pictures as we prepared for Christmas last year. This is my daughter Taylor. These are not her horses. If you follow my channel, you know that she does have a horse. This is the property that she works on, cleaning up after these 2 horses to help pay for her own horse. But she's wearing a fun elf hat, and I just love that picture. So just pictures of us kind of preparing. This is Coda, the cat, who just likes to climb on everything and watch. So just a handful of pictures of kind of the preparation for Christmas. Those are the pictures we'll be using today. These are the papers. I'm not going to use all of the colors, but I laid them out so you can just get a quick glimpse of the papers. They're gold foiled on one side, and then if you flip them over, they're plain, no foiling on the back side. So I'm going to be using those today. I pulled out white cardstock. I pulled out some beige cardstock and some brown cardstock. None of these are Stampin' Up cardstock. Again, I have a little bit left in my stash that I'm trying to use up before I start purchasing more. This is the die cuts. I laid them out so you could see the 3 size trees and these. So these ones here will die cut these stamps here. And these 3 are standalone dies. And then this one will cut out this one right here. And then you've got the star, and then these are just standalone stamps. But while I've got this out, I was going to show you how I store these. The die cuts come in an envelope like this, and they come, you pull this out, you open this up, and there's cardboard pieces in here with double back tape that these are stuck on. And I already peeled them off because it takes a little bit of effort to get them off. But what I do is I take this out and I save this for other things. I have these 5x7 magnetic sheets. I'm going to peel the back off. I will link to all of these products in my description below. So I basically slide this in here like this, get it stuck down, and then I just peel off the back. So that is stuck in there really good. And then I will put the dies on here so it's all stored together. They usually all fit in one. If they don't, then I'll just bring out another one of these and not stick it down. But these, you'll see I'll be able to fit them inside of each other like so. At least I think I will. So we're going to kind of mess with those a little bit. I can put this one right here. And then these trees, I can put my little star, this is the bow center, this is the bow tail, and these are the sides of the bows. So put the star down here, maybe. The center down there too. See if we can maneuver these. So it just takes a little bit of finagling to get them to all fit in here, but typically you can do it. And if there's, like I said, if there's too many, then you just get another magnetic sheet. Don't peel off the sticky and put it in there. I think that will close. Yeah, it will. So now when I close this up, everything is contained in one spot. And what I do with this is slide it in here. You don't have to. A lot of people just toss these. I, for whatever reason, just can't bring myself to do that. So I slide it right inside the DVD case, or the stamp case. It's the same size as a DVD. And now it's all contained in one nice spot. So I'm going to be using a lot of these stamps today. Most of the trees, I'm going to be using this for some background stamping. Definitely using the die cuts. And then the other thing that I'm going to use is this embossing folder. And I might try some inking, put some ink on here and see. But with these papers, it might not be necessary, but I'm definitely going to be using that. I brought in some brown, green, and red ink. I'm still using these Memento Luxe inks because they're fairly new. I got them right before Close to My Heart closed down because I wasn't sure where I was going to get my inks, and I will slowly build up my ink stash from Stampin' Up. And I'm going to use this stamp set. This is the Jingle Joy Scrapbooking stamp set from Close to My Heart. I got this also before they closed their doors. I'm going to use just the Christmas part of this, and I may use some of these little decorative pieces. I'm not totally sure yet what I'm going to use from this, but I'll definitely be using the Christmas. And then I'm going to be using a combination of sketches today. I bring this in. I'm going to use my Versa mats, which unfortunately are not available since Close to My Heart has closed their doors, but I'll bring those in. This is the sketchbook from the creative design team. They have multiple sketchbooks. I have all of them and I love them. So I basically picked out a few sketches that I think would work with this. So I was originally looking at this one. I have two 4x6s here though, but I like having one up here and the 3 squares along the bottom because of the embossing folder. It will cut a nice square with the trees in there. So I was looking at that, and then I was looking through to see if there was anything that had just the two 4x6s. That's not it. And I found this one. So this has two 4x6s like I have, and then has a kind of a grid over here. So then I was thinking, well, maybe I'll do more of a grid on this side and the two over here, but I like the grid over here as well. So I kept looking and then ended up back at this one that also has a grid over here, but one 4x6, 6x4, and all these pictures on the bottom. So I think what I'm going to do is a combination of the three of them, and just kind of take bits and pieces from each one. I like how this one has a nice thick border and this side has a thin border, so I'll probably do that. So I'm just going to kind of piece these three sketches together with the photos that I have. So the first thing I want to do is bring in my base pages, which is going to be this brown. I know that I'm going to be adding quite a bit of layers to these pages, so I'm going to go ahead and gut out the middle of these base pages. I've showed this a handful of times on my channel already, so I'm going to speed this up. I'm basically just lining up the left side of that paper at the 11-inch mark and the cutting blade at the 1-inch mark, and rotating all the way around the paper that way to cut out the center of that cardstock. That way when I layer the rest of the pages on there, it won't be quite as thick as if I left it whole, and I can use the center for something else later. Okay, I have both pieces gutted out. This one I left a 1.5-inch border, and this one just has a 1-inch border. The next thing that I want to do is bring in my white, and that is going to go, that's going to be my next layer. Looked at my sketches, and two of my sketches, my favorite ones, both had this side cut down to 10 by 10. But I thought that might be too small because I'm using two 4x6 photos. So I cut it to 10.5 by 10.5. And I cut this side by 11 3/4 and 11 3/4. So it's just a small border. But I am going to not glue these down just yet until I get going with my photos to make sure that that is what I want. What I'm thinking is these pictures over here. These are both printed 4x6 with a white border already on it. I usually like to map my photos in white first and then another color. And so for 4x6s, I will usually print with the border. The other ones I did not. I'm thinking those there. Originally, I was thinking these here with a couple of pictures down here and a journaling box in the middle. But I only have 6 pictures, and my first plan was to have a grid of 9 photos over on this side. So this sketch has 9, but it has 6 photos and I only have 4. So that's where I was thinking, like maybe a smaller grid with some embellishments in the middle ones. But I don't know if that's going to be quite enough, or I could do journaling down here. So I still kind of have to play around with this. I do like having this here, but if I did a larger title and journaling over here, possibly I could go back to having, do I have 6? I do have 6. I could go back to something like this is what the sketch calls for. So I'm not totally sure which direction I want to go. One of the sketches actually calls for this to be matted again like that, and I do really like that, so I may end up doing that on this side. So in order for me to see what I want to do, I have to start cutting some of these pieces. I did go ahead and cut down a beige piece for right here behind the white. I cut it down to 10 3/4 by 10 3/4, so it's just a small border. And then this piece I cut for the banner across the bottom that will be dovetailed. I put these two up here like this, and I put this across the bottom like so. So I think I actually will dovetail that more. And if I don't end up putting pictures down here, I might even cut it down smaller. I'm not really liking the look of that as much as I like the look of it over here. So I am going to go ahead and cut this down a little bit smaller. The next part that I know I want to follow is off of this sketch here. I want these pieces to back my photo. So I'm going to use this red piece. I'm going to use a green and a cream. So let me bring these back in and show you. I'm not going to be using the blue, and there's 2 different greens, so I have to decide if I want that one or the other one. There's also 2 different of the cream colors, so let's see. Oh gosh, I think I like this one better. So we're going to use this one. Yep, and the ones that I have. So I'm going to cut these down. I've cut out some pieces that we can play with. Put those like this. These photos I'm going to put together and mat on one mat behind it. At least I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start with this. I think I want to use this side. And I'm just going to kind of put that behind here like this and move that for a minute. My photo is not a 6x4 like the sketch calls for. I actually have them pushed together would be an 8x6. So it may not fit on here exactly the same, but I'm going to play around with it here a little bit. So I'm going to put that there, and then I want to put this one down here like that. And then I want this one I want to turn this one over like this. So I think I want it to be something along those lines. I'm going to have some embellishments, I think, over in this corner. And this one I think I'll put over here like that. And the other piece up here like that. And then these I just want, I think I want it like this. On that side, and this one over here on this side. I think I want it sticking out a little bit more. I think I want this one to be angled a little bit more so you can't see as much of it. So I'll probably cut some of these down still a little bit. And I think I want to go ahead and ink these edges once I figure out where I want them to be, just to make them pop off the page a little bit more. But I don't think I'll ink anything else. Let me tell you a little bit more about what I did. I cut down these pieces over here and got them kind of arranged. I'm going to cut this red one down a little bit more, but I'm going to have some embellishments over here, so I don't want to cut anything down until I do some stamping and die cutting and getting my embellishments over here. I am going to, like I mentioned, I'm going to ink all of these edges in this brown. I'm using the Memento Rich Cocoa. Over here I went ahead and cut 3 squares of each of the foil paper, 3 of the red, 3 of the green, and 3 of the cream color. They are all 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 to make a nice grid. And then I started laying the pictures on them to see how I wanted to mat them. And you can see over here, I laid this one on there and I just think it needed some separation. So first I cut out a white mat just to tie in more of the white and put it there, but I didn't really like it. And one of the rules that I typically follow almost always in my scrapbooking, when I'm doing a 2-page layout, whatever color I have over here, I make sure I have over here. So I don't have any of this beige color over here, so I cut a mat in that beige color and put it on there and then set it on there. And I like that better. It's just a little bit more subtle, but it still adds some separation between the photo and the paper. And I also cut this photo down. Instead of it being 3 by 3, I cut it down to 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, so I could cut the mat to 3 by 3 and keep the base at 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 to match all the other squares on this page. So I like how that's coming together. I will do kind of a subtitle up here. I'm going to do more an embellishment cluster in the middle one and my journaling in this box down here. And then instead of using pictures on the bottom over here, I'm going to do a title. It's going to say Welcome Christmas. I'm going to do some of the die cut bows and my stamp and Christmas. I also found this Greetings of the Season. This came with the Season of Green and Gold in the last catalog, or the extras that they released, and I want to use this stamp. It's the most wonderful time of the year. So what I'm going to do next is just stamp and die cut a whole bunch of different things so that I can sit down and work with various items to help determine where the rest of this page needs to go. I spent quite a bit of time cutting out a bunch of things, so let me show you this. I'll kind of work my way through these things. I did all my stamping, so this is what I did, and for right now I'm just going to leave it square and just put it right here. I'm a pretty simple scrapbooker. I'm still learning how to embellish a little bit better, or maybe add a little bit more embellishments, but sometimes I just like it simple. So I did that. I did my Christmas, and what I did on this stamp, the Merry and the Christmas is connected together. So I just used washi tape to cover the Merry stamped it in red and then took off the washi tape before I stamped it on the paper so that I just got the Christmas. And then I just fussy cut it out because it was simple enough to do that. So I have my Christmas, which is going to go down here. I stamped out my word welcome. It's also going to go down here. And then look at these. How cute are these little bows? I am so excited to use more of these. I'm going to show you how I made these. So this is the bow. And I know that when I put it in my scrapbook, it's going to flatten out. But I'm going to leave it like that just because it's so cute. So these are the pieces that made that bow. And it is so easy to make. I'm going to put the second one together for you real quick. So I'm using this Barely Art precision glue. I love this glue. I use it for everything. And all I did was cut this out with the die cut, and I turn it over and put a little bit of glue on this, and I put a little bit on this side too. You don't need much, but and then fold it over carefully and line up those round parts of it and just hold it together for a second for that glue to get tacky. I make sure that it's even. Look how good these. I am just so excited about this die cut. I love all the die cuts that came with this set, but this bow is going to get used a ton. My daughter came in and saw it, and she wants to make a bunch and put a little clip on the back so she can clip them in her doll's hair, which is going to be so much fun for her. These bows can be used for so many things. Card fronts and scrapbook pages and just other crafts and gift tags even. For Christmas presents, I'll probably do that. So anyways, so I put glue on both of those. Hold it together for just a second. So now that those are together, you take the tail right here and put a little bit of glue on that part of it. And then you just put, let me move this so out of the way, the round part on the square of the tail. Hold that down for a second. And then put glue on the other one. And it will go on top of that one. Just like so. I'll hold that down for just a second. Make sure it really sticks there. And then you've got this little square. So I'll put a little bit of glue on that. Just a tiny bit. And then that's going to go in the center. Look at how cute that is. And then I just held it down all together just for a little bit. It doesn't require much. And then I set them aside to really dry. But look at how adorable is that. So I am so excited for these little bows. So we'll use that. So this bow, what I'm going to do is kind of tuck the welcome up into the bow like this. And then that will go over here to my welcome Christmas. And I was kind of laying this out a little bit and thought that this bottom might be too plain. I did go ahead and ink around all the edges of these papers, you can see, and that made everything stand out a little bit more. But I realized that maybe this piece here is too light. So what I did was I took that out. I still don't have anything glued down, so I gotta be careful. And I put a darker brown piece as a matte instead, which I really like that. Just makes those pictures pop. And then I was looking like, what am I going to do on the bottom? And I had this extra piece from the green paper. And I thought, what if I just kind of put that there for right now to ground it all on? So I kind of liking that. But once I start getting the trees and other things that I cut out on here, that might change. And I may end up putting this over here like that. So I haven't really decided. So that's where I'm at with all of that. So let me show you all of this fun stuff. So I cut out a bunch of different trees. So all of these are different sizes, a couple of different colors. I cut out 2 stars for either tops of trees. I may end up going back and cutting out a few more, but those are the cuts. And then I used my embossing folder and I cut down a square of paper. Can you see that detail, how pretty it is? Let's see if I can get a little closer. Look how pretty. And I used the die cut on this one. It's not an exact match, but it was close enough. So my plan was to layer this on top like this, and then start adding some of these trees, maybe even some of the stamped ones, to just kind of make a cluster of trees, and that will go over here on one of these squares is kind of what I'm thinking. So I'm going to mess around with that, and then the rest of these are going to fit around this main picture over here. I wanted a bigger tree down here, so one will go right here like this, and I think I might take the lighter color. It's the same color. Let's see here if I can find the lighter color tree. I also cut pieces out from this same green paper so I could layer it like this, so I might do that, and then put maybe a dark tree behind it, or maybe even a smaller tree. I don't like that there. Let's take that out. Put this one there. That might work. And then I was thinking these trees would go up here at the top, maybe even over here. I have one more piece to go here, but I forgot to ink one edge of it, and it's over to the side drying. I did stamp the trees in 2 different colors as well. So let's see here if we do something like that, and I could even put trees behind it just for a little bit of extra color. Oh yeah, I kind of like that. Like that. I've got a darker one. Like this. And make sure we still see the red there. Something like that maybe. And then probably a stamped tree. I'm not really sure what I want to put down here. I kind of like having, oh, I think I like that one. And then maybe a darker tree, possibly a star up there. I might even put the stars down here. I'm not sure. I'm not liking how this Christmas is white and sitting on the white background. I think it needs more behind it. So I could even put trees. Let's see what kind of trees we have here. If I just put a few different trees back here. So you can see I'm just taking all these pieces and just putting them around, kind of trying them out in different spots and seeing what works and what doesn't work. What I like and what I don't like, and that's just really all there is to it. There's no right or wrong way to do this, really. So I kind of like how that's going. One of these spots over here is going to be for journaling, probably the bottom one. So I'll probably do something like that. But I am fairly confident now that I can go ahead and glue down my background pieces and all of the squares. All right, so after a lot of messing around, and I mean a lot, this is what I've ended up with. Let me tell you what I did. I made some changes. I did end up putting the welcome up here and the Christmas down here, because as I was moving everything around, that just made the most sense. I am going to leave this strip in here because it's kind of grounding the trees. It's giving the place for the trees to come up out of instead of just floating in the middle of nowhere. And I think I took out a lot of stuff from up here and just left the 3 basic trees and the bow, which I really like. But let me show you something that I did. I was actually really excited about this. As I was laying this all out, I really loved the texture that the embossing folder had put onto these papers over here, and I really wanted these trees to have that effect. So what I did was I took the embossing folder and I took my die cuts and I just laid them in the middle. They're already embossed, but I'm going to show you what I did. Laid them in the middle of the trees so that I knew when I closed it and ran this through that the texture would go on the trees with the entire tree. So I laid everything on there, closed it up, ran it through the embossing folder, and now all of my pieces, I did all of my pieces, all have this beautiful tree texture on it. I hope you can see that. So now all of my plain colored trees here, even this little one, if you can see it, all have that texture on it. And I just think, even though it doesn't change the color of the papers, it really changed the whole look of that cluster. So I like how that's going. I did glue everything down and realized after I glued it all down that I had wanted to do a little bit of stamping on the white. And I could still do that and kind of mask off the pictures, but there's so much going on already that I don't think that it's really necessary. I also thought about doing some ink blending, but again, I think I just like it plain and simple. I did not glue down these, this square and this square, because I wasn't sure if I was going to have my journaling up here or down here, but when I switched the two, I really like the trees being on the bottom, so they are kind of growing up the page, if you will, instead of up here. It just made more sense for me to put it at the bottom. I do really like how this one is, so I'm going to go ahead and glue all of this down. I will do some journaling and get my journaling in this box here, but I'm going to go ahead and glue it down how it is. I wanted to show you real quick though how I store everything. I've shown this a couple of times, but the paper comes in plastic wrap, and on the back of that plastic wrap is this piece of paper, a sticker, and it will tell you all of the colors that are in this paper pack. So I cut that out. I have these plastic 12 by 12 paper holders. I got these on Amazon. I will link them below. I just drop that in there, and then I take the cardboard here, and then I take all of the paper that is I didn't use and all my leftover scraps and slide it right in there. And believe it or not, I do keep quite a bit of the scraps. Even on this page I went back and grabbed a couple for die cutting and other things, so I keep all those scraps at least until I use up the paper pack. I will also keep the pieces that I die cut on, because there's a couple of small, like the star would still fit in there, and possibly like the bow, if I wanted to make part of the bow, would fit in here. So until I'm absolutely done with a paper pack, I will keep anything that has usable space on it. So I'm going to go ahead and drop those in there. And then the other thing I do is I have all these extra dies down here that I didn't use. This is the plastic that the die cuts came in. So I will use this, open that up, and I just take all of the extra dies that go with this set and I just drop them in there. A lot of people will also drop these extra pieces in the plastic storage case, the stamp and die storage case, and drop them in there so that when you pull out the stamp and the die cut, you can see that you have extras. But I feel like if I use that stamp and die and each time have extras, pretty soon it's going to get full, and if I don't know they're in there, when I go to pop it open, they're going to go flying everywhere. So I do it this way, and then I take this plastic piece envelope with the die cuts in it, and I slide it in here with my paper, and so now it's all together and ready to be stored. Everything is glued down. I didn't do my journaling. I'll do that a little bit later, but I got all of this glued down. I'm really happy with all of that. I did toy around with putting something up here, but ultimately decided not to. But I did go back on my decision about the stamping, and I am going to do just a little bit of stamping, and I wanted to do it on camera so you could see. So I'm using this stamp from the same set I've been using, the die cuts, this Peaceful Evergreens. This is turning out to be a really great set, and I know that that's going to get used a bunch. So I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to be stamping in this Rich Cocoa Memento ink. And this is what the stamp looks like. I did a couple of practice ones since I'm stamping directly on my layout is always scary because it's done. So if I mess this up, I kind of mess up everything. But I did practice a few times, and I brought in some Post-it notes so that I can mask off a few things that I don't want to get ink on. So I'm going to scoot this up a little bit, make sure it stays on camera for you, and open up my ink. I'm just dabbing on my ink just very lightly to make sure that I don't get any on the edges. And then because this is a cling stamp or the rubber stamp, I don't need to put anything below it, underneath it. I can just stamp directly on my paper. So I know I'm off camera a little bit, but the practice one was fine. So I'm just going to dab it again very lightly, and this one is just going to kind of go up here very randomly like so, just lightly. I don't, like I said, it doesn't have to be real bright, dark. Okay, I'm going to do another one. Now see, this is where I want to mask off. I don't want anything on my paper, so I'm just going to use Post-it notes to make sure that I don't get stamp ink where I don't want it. So if I just put some Post-it notes here, excuse me, then I won't get ink on anything that I don't want ink on. So now I'll dab it again, and I'm just going to do this one. Let's see, we'll put that one, I want it to be a different angle. Turn it around this way and put it up here on the top like that. Cute. I'm going to do another one just coming off the paper right here. Okay, and then I can remove, I think I'll do that again right in the middle right here. Yeah. And now when I remove this, there won't be any stamp ink there. Yeah, I like that. And then let's do a little bit more down here, this corner. So I'm just gonna, same thing, put my Post-it notes down here to block off that. And just to make sure I don't accidentally go too low, I'll do one there too. Okay, and then just dab a little bit of ink, and I'm just gonna kind of randomly place that down. Do another one over here. Okay, and then move my Post-it notes to this side. Do a couple more stamps down here. Take this one off, and we'll do this one like this. Okay, so now I can pull those off. I think I'll do a little bit more, mask that off, mask that off. I just want some, oopsie, I need to, a little bit more right there. I just want a little bit more on my white. And I think we'll add another one up here. I'm not putting a whole lot of thought into this. I just want wherever there's white space to just kind of fill in with a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, I think that adds just a little bit, and I actually think I want just a touch up here in this corner. So I'm going to put these up here like this. Block, really make sure I get everything blocked off where I think I might make a mistake. And just do, I just want the littlest bit in that corner right there. Should probably put a little bit over here by these trees. So I am going to bring in a couple more Post-it notes and just make sure that tree gets totally blocked off there. And we'll add one right there. Move this one over here. I just want the littlest bit in that corner. So, all right, here is my final page layout. I'm going to pick it up so you can see it up close. I didn't make any additional changes to this. And I did leave it. I walked away for a couple of hours. I came back and looked at it again and was really happy with the stamping and everything on it. So I'll let you see all of the detail in that. I just really like that. And then on this side, I added in my journaling right here. It's hard to tell, but I did print it in brown ink on this beige paper. I didn't want any more. I didn't want to bring in an additional white. This white was enough. And I thought it would be nice to tie in more of this beige color on this side by bringing it up here. So I did that. Bring it up closer so you can see. It has just a teeniest little brown border on it. I got all the pictures matted. I did matte all of the pictures in that beige, you can see on all of them. And this bow, I just love the bow. I can't get over the bow. And then the detail of the embossing on this. So this one is done. I'm going to put it in the album and move on to the next one. I really do like how this came out, and I'm excited to do more layouts using this same paper. So I will link everything that I used in the description below and link a couple of videos that you might want to watch after watching this one. If you want to see another Christmas layout that I did using the Season of Green and Gold suite by Stampin' Up, click on this video here on the right. Please go ahead and like and subscribe if you enjoyed watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.